Well, hello there and welcome back to this F1 2017 Sauber career mode. We're at round 8 at the Baku street circuit in Azerbaijan. Just done the practice sessions. First 2 sessions were dry, the third one was wet. We'll talk about them briefly. First thing we'll do though is listen to the voicemail for our qualifying objective. Hopefully this is nice and reasonable around this tricky circuit. It's 9th place, so essentially get into Q3 and then try and do a decent lap if we can, and obviously beat our rival Sergio Perez. Right then, so yeah, the practice sessions have gone okay. 275 out of a possible 275 resource points. We've had good and bad news, unfortunately. Good news is that we seem genuinely quick. I was the 12th fastest in FP2, and that was running some very old engine parts and still managed to do most of my practice objectives. I was quick enough to do it even with ruined parts. The bad news is, of course, if you look at the upgrades there, both of the minor upgrades for the aero have failed, which means that was up here then. That was basically 400 or 500 credits well spent, because immediately the first 2 upgrades have failed. I've done these first 2 here a long time ago, I think probably after the 3rd or 4th race in season 1, before I really understood how career mode worked, and obviously now we've got these 2 here and they failed. But it's 600 to get them restarted again, and I have to get these done before I think about doing anything else in this aero tree. We're up to 521 resource points now, so if we have an average to good qualifying session, we will hit that 600 even before the race, and then our sponsor bonus at the end of it. So bit of a shame that, but never mind anyway. As for progress history as well, a few teams have made some good upgrades. Ferrari and Toro Rosso have both had major upgrades, whilst Red Bull, Haas and McLaren have had minor upgrades. Renault haven't upgraded since Spain, and you can now see there's a visible gap between ourselves and Renault, and we are slowly creeping in on Force India. But hopefully after this race, if we can get both them aeros done, you should see us spike up just a little bit more. As for the power units, obviously we're onto our gearbox now. This will be our 3rd race we're coming into, 22%, so we're looking okay. Power units onto units number 2. The highest is the ICE at 39%. Not too much else to talk about then. FP3 was in the wet, so I only did about 4 or 5 laps. No point putting extra engine wear on the car for no gains, because qualifying in a race is going to be dry overcast, but dry in the race anyway, so that's fine. So we'll go to Q1 then. Not expected to be under too much pressure really in Q1. Still a bit unsure about the pace. Obviously we're running old engine parts, and I was outside the top 10, but usually if you run old engine parts you get the back of the field, so I'm quietly confident that we can easily get through into Q3. Maybe if we can do the heroics we did in Canada and take pole position, I don't know. We'll just have to wait to see how Q1 and Q2 go. But for Q1 anyway, its aim is just to survive, get through the first session, and then we can start looking at our pace after that. So there we go, and Q1 has ended, half a second away from Hamilton, but we set our lap time on the soft tyres. I'm going for an aggressive strategy here. We're going to run the super softs in obviously Q2 and Q3. Bottas was half a tenth quicker than us, also on the soft tyres, but the signs are encouraging. We're 8 tenths quicker than Kimi Raikkonen, believe it or not, and we've managed to be faster than likes of Ocon, Ricciardo and Verstappen all the way down in 13th place as well, although he was on the soft tyres. So got decent pace it seems then, and I'm pretty confident we can get through to the top 10 shootout after Q2. We seem to be relatively on pace to the likes of Bottas and the Mercedes, and we're quicker than Raikkonen as well, so quite helpful then. So there's the top 10. Massa is in 11th place, Perez down in 12th, which is a bit of a surprise because he's been very strong all season. Verstappen 13th on the super soft tyres I should say, and then Alonso and Magnussen 15th. 16th place, Pascal Wehrlein, 700ths of a second away from making it through to Q2. Finally, Wehrlein is starting to improve, and he's managed to out-qualify Palmer in the Renault, Lance Stroll, Van Dorn and Danny Kvyat at the back of the grid. So then we'll move forward to Q2, bolt on a set of super soft tyres, and as long as I can keep it clean, I'm fairly confident we can make it through to the top 10 shootout for Q3. So there we go then, comfortably through to Q3 as I would have expected, just over a tenth away from, surprise, Ocon. I can't believe I think it's the first time I've ever seen Ocon at the top of any sort of timing sheets in any sort of session. We was the quickest in Sector 2 and Sector 3, lost a couple of tenths in Sector 1, so we seem right bang on the pace of these guys. As you can see there is only just 2.5 tenths separating the top 6. So there's your top 10, eliminated from Q2, Felipe Massa, Nico Hulkenberg, Sainz, Alonso and Kevin Magnussen. So along with the Force India's, Red Bulls, Ferraris and Mercedes and myself, it's Grosjean through to Q3 for the first time. for a few races. So obviously everyone inside the top 10 will be starting on the same tyres, the super softs, and yeah, so hopefully we're now going to Q3, and if we can go a little bit quicker, we may be very well have a good chance of starting near the very front of the field. But pace is promising. All we've got to do is just keep that going into the final qualifying session. So we've ended up in qualifying on the front row of the grid, but not pole position like Canada, but it is in the second place, splitting the Mercedes. Pretty good lap, to be honest with you. I pretty much nailed everything. Made a little bit of mistake going into the left-hander at the bottom of the hill, going into sector 3. Probably lost maybe a tenth and a half. Wouldn't have made much difference. So yeah, pretty happy with the lap and all nailed on. You can see the top 10 there, the Force Indies is together on row 3, and Grosjean's managed to out-qualify both the Red Bulls by half a second, so they seem frighteningly a little bit off the pace. Vettel in 4th, Raikkonen down in 7th place. So yeah, things are looking good for this race. Second place on the grid. We'll all be starting on the super soft tyres as well, so the first lap's going to get very interesting. So then the resource points for qualifying, 105. Not too bad, I'll be happy with that. We're over the 600 target already, so that's quite nice. The rivalry update as well, we're both completely qualifying, and I qualified Perez, so we now take the lead in this rivalry against Perez. So that's quite nice. Hopefully I'll be able to see that one away. The reputation level continues to creep back up. The majority of his teams, of course, after retiring in Monaco, it took a heavy hit. So we'll listen to the voicemail then, or we'll wait for the voicemail to come through on our screens. I'll be expecting this to probably be top 6. Yeah, there we go, bang on that. Look at that, finish in 6th or higher and beat Perez, so that's fine. Nothing to change. I'm not going to change any parts. I'm going to keep everything as it is. I think 42%, yeah, that's alright. We can carry that into the race and then probably move on to unit number 3 for the next qualifying and races from, I think, Austria and Silverstone onwards. So we've got 5 units for everything, so I don't think we'll be taking any more grid penalties as the season goes on. So then, we'll go to a track. I'll take you through the grid order from 1st all the way down to 20th, and then we'll have a look at the race strategy and then get the 8th round of this season on the go. So then here's the grid order for round 8 of season 4. Bottas on pole position by 2.5 tenths from yours truly, and then on row 2 we have Lewis Hamilton and championship leader Vettel in 4th. Row 3 has Perez ahead of Raikkonen. Grosjean is now up to 7th, Verstappen 8th, Ricciardo 9th and Massa into the top 10. Sainz 11th, Alonso's up to 12th, Magnussen 13th, Verline's up to 14th, Palmer 15th, Ocon has a 10 place grid penalty for 16th, Stroll, Van Dorn, Kvyat and Hulkenberg also has a grid penalty and starts at the back. So then let's have a look at the race strategy. Supers onto softs. Starts off cloudy, a little bit of sun and then back to cloudy again, so nothing like Canada where we had a little bit of rain towards the end. Let's bump up the fuel. I think we'll go 3 laps worth of extra fuel. We may very well get a safety car in this race, being Azerbaijan, so that will help us to save some fuel at some point. Supers onto softs seems like a nice little strategy. 16 laps on softs might be pushing it a little bit, but I'm definitely going to take the 1 stop strategy. 2 stops is a little bit pointless around here, especially if you get held up in traffic. So I will run with that strategy. We'll get the formation lap out of the way and then get the race on the go. So here we are then on the grid. Hold the clutch in, build the revs up. 5 lights coming on now, and it's go. Good start. Oh, Hamilton's had a rocket as well. Might be 3 wide into turn 1. Oh, we've managed to avoid contact and taken the lead as well. Bottas has been pushed back. Oh, we've gone deep into turn 2 though, that's the problem. We're going to have the right train of cars behind me here down into turn 3. Oh, we've got a safety car out. I wonder what that's for. So just about to catch a safety car. This will take a while. Verline's made a pit stop. I can only assume he's picked up damage somewhere, and so he's in already, but that'd be interesting to keep one eye and see what he does with his strategy now. Right, the safety car is disappearing, so we now become the safety car. I'm just waiting for when I feel like I should go. I'm happy now. Not a bad restart. So I'm just coming to the line to start lap 5. Put a little bit of a gap there, as you can see, to the guys behind me. So I think I'm okay for now. As for Pascal Wehrlein, he pitted and took on another set of super soft tyres. So everyone's on the same set of tyres. And so Pascal Wehrlein's kind of lost out really, because he qualified, I think, in 14th place or something like that. Oh, and now the VSC is out because of Raikkonen's abandoned car on the side of the track. So this is now all getting... that was by the... I reckon if that was by the pit straight, I probably would have pitted actually for a set of medium tyres. But as it is, we're going to carry on with this strategy. Oh, I got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car right at the end of it. I don't believe it. Now I've got to absolutely go for it here. What a rookie... Well, I don't know if it was a rookie mistake or not. I thought I timed it well and I just missed it at the end. That changes everything. Right, going into the pits this lap now to do our drive-through penalty. I've been absolutely ragging the arse end out of this car. Right, let's drive through the pits, see where we rejoin, and then in a couple of laps make our pit stop. Coming out of the pits, looks like I'm going to filter between Alonso and Hulkenberg, so we're in 11th place now. Oh, there's a puff of smoke ahead of me. Someone's blown up, I think. I can't overtake because there's yellow flags, and look at the speed we're gaining. Someone's pulling off ahead of us, not too sure who it is. It's Magnussen. Squeezing past Alonso. DRS as well. So we should be able to gain on Stroll and get past him into turn 1. Nice move. Up to 4th place then. Pit stops are happening. I might stay out on these tyres for as long as possible, so I don't get held up by anyone else. So then into lap 12. A couple more people have made pit stops. We're now running in 2nd place. Sainz ahead of us and Wehrlein behind us. So we're coming down the home straight now to end lap 12. We're going to dive into the pits now for a set of soft tyres. That will comfortably get us to the end of the race and see where we rejoin. Oh, damn it! 5 second stop go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. We've rejoined in 10th place just behind Ocon. And we're going to get 5 seconds added to our race time as well for speeding into the pit lane. So this isn't going to be a repeat of Canada. Just got to push like anything now to try and recover these lost positions. So we've just come around to complete lap 14 into 15. Ocon has made the 2nd pit stop. He ran wide. I got past him, he then ran wide a few corners later and put it in the wall and damaged his wing. We're now gaining on Sainz, so this is my next target to try and get past into 7th place. He's driving in the middle of the road. We're going to go the inside. Bit of contact actually, Christ. We barge our way through into 6th place. And ahead of us we've got Ricciardo battling a Williams that's massively out of position. Not too sure if this Williams actually made a pit stop yet or not, or if he's just got lucky with other people falling over. But look at that, we're right up to the back of Ricciardo already. Oh, that was a place you don't overtake, and Ricciardo's run wide and hit the wall. A little bit of damage in his wing. Be a bit over ambitious there. I don't care, we're through to 5th. Yeah, behind Massa. He's yet to make a pit stop actually. So we're going to get DRS off the back of the Williams, but he's moving about. I think he's about to make a pit stop. He is. So we're up to 4th place. Next up is Bottas, who's on the medium tyres. So that's an achievable target. It's another fastest lap. I must have set fastest lap about 5 or 6 times in this race. You can see there's Bottas now ahead of us, and we've got DRS, so already less than a second. He's got to bide our time. We should be able to get past this Mercedes fairly comfortably, and then we'll be back in a podium position. This is Brave Castle section. Oh, I think he's hit the wall. He has, and damaged his front wing. I don't care. I was legitimately alongside. It's not my fault if you don't want to give me the space. Bottas has ripped his front wing off. He will be in the pits. And that's just for the third place. Next target is Verstappen. So we're coming into lap 20. I'm catching Verstappen by just over a second a lap. Another fastest lap by just half a tenth that time. I don't think anyone has come close to me so far, and I reckon by the end of this lap I'll be right on Verstappen's gearbox. Oh, I've gone straight on. Oh, we've hit the wall. Oh, I don't believe I've done that. Oh, and I've gone straight on again, and now we've completely creamed into the wall. Oh, I did this at Monaco, didn't I? Now we have no front wing. Well, at least we can serve our drive-through penalty, so where we finish on track is where we'll legitimately be. So it looks like we're coming out in 17th place then, right amongst a scrap of cars. Straight up the inside of Van Dorn. Right, we're in 16th place, a long way back. I don't think we're going to get into the points now. But with Ocon and Bottas as well, so we're all going to steam away together, I think. So Ocon defends the inside line, we'll just drive right round his outside. And up to 15th place, wow. We are catching a gaggle of cars ahead of us very quickly, so it might come down to the last couple of laps we squeeze back inside the top 10, but we're going to have to get very aggressive if we're going to do some moves. So up beyond Bottas again. Our top end speed is just fantastic at the moment. Passed him even before the DRS, and I think we might be able to set the fastest lap in a couple of seconds as well as we close on Stroll. Another fastest lap. Oh, Stroll defends the inside. Oh, he's tagged us. Oh, we got away with it. Up to 13th place. Our next teammate is Pascal Wehrlein. So now behind Pascal Wehrlein, who does try to defend the inside line. Oh, let's not make contact with our teammate. So we've managed to pass him to 12th place. Next up is Massa, and then there's a car just ahead of him as well. 2 laps to go. I can see a point. Going, DRS is open. Is Massa going to defend? He is a little bit. I'm still going for it though. Oh, that was a tight angle. But through to 11th place. Kvyat then is what separates me from a point. Bumped it into Rich Mix just to give me a bit more power. DRS, and through we go into 10th. If I put the hammer down a little bit, there's a possibility of catching Alonso here, because he'll be slow in the final sector. So if I can get anywhere within DRS range, I might be able to leapfrog him for 9th. You know, I think I'm close enough here. He's going to be very slow down the straight. Meanwhile, Sergio Perez has won the race. My God, that's his second win. Yeah, we're going to get Alonso here very easily as well. Move to the right. We're going to run to the finish line. We're going to get past Alonso and take 2 points. It could have been more. It should have been more. But it's a decent recovery to get some points. So we're going. Both myself and Kvyat had drive-through penalties, which obviously we served during the race, which is why we haven't had the times added on. Perez has won for the second time this season from 5th place on the grid, 16.5 seconds away from Verstappen in the second, and championship leader Vettel extends his lead with 3rd place. Hamilton was 4th, Sainz was 5th, Grosjean was 6th. Blimey, that's the sort of race it was really, because there was so much going on in it. Yeah, even Hulkenberg from the back of the grid picked up 4 points. So further down then, Alonso picked up the final point. Obviously we got past him at the line. We set the fastest lap by 1.5 let's have a look. 44.3 for Vettel, so by 9/10 of a second. So yeah, we kept on setting a faster lap as the race went on. Kvyat, we got past him towards the end. He finishes 11th, Massa 12. Verline, strong race from him, even though he was at the back early on after making an early pit stop, and we probably held him up when we pitted as well. Then it's Bottas and Ocon, Stroll, Van Dorn and Palmer, and then the two retirements, Magnussen, and early on was Kimi Raikkonen. So we'll have a look at the standings then. Vettel retains or keeps his lead, 138 points. Perez, with his second win of the season, now jumps ahead of us, so he's on 107. We have dropped down to third on 103, just 1 point ahead of Hamilton in fourth. Other movers, Verstappen, thanks to his podium, jumps ahead of Bottas into 6th place, and Sainz, Hulkenberg and Grosjean all scoring good points, mean they move up to 10th, 11th and 12th. Just 3 drivers still yet to score, Verline, Van Dorn and Stroll, although Verline seems to be getting closer and closer. In the constructors, the top 5 stay as they are. Force India still in 3rd place. Toro Rosso have moved ahead of Renault for 6th, and Haas have jumped up 2 places ahead of Williams and McLaren to 8th. So the resource points for the race, this will be well down on what we normally get. It's only 67, that is a shame. And the resource points for our first driver bonus, good in practice and qualifying, a little low in the race, but still another 81, takes us up to 794. The rivalry update, unfortunately Perez smashed us in that one, 4-2, so he now takes a 1 point lead. And the team approval has gone up with Williams a little bit, and it's 100% with McLaren, but all the other teams it's gone down a little bit as well, because we failed to finish 6th or higher in our session goal. And finally, the career score for the weekend. This should be close to 10,000. In fact, it should be over 10,000. It is 10,510. So then, no classic car events because we don't do them anymore, and I got offered one last race, but we no need to do them anymore. So then, we'll have a look. Resource points 794. So then, I'm tempted, as I've got so many resource points at the moment, to do this second one here, but we've already done the first one, and then 2 bits failed straight away. Ideally, I do need to get these done as soon as possible. Because we can't upgrade the car unless we get both of these done. So I'm going to give us a few seconds thought. Do I do this to make things a bit easier for us in the long run, or do I just go for it and see what we can do? Heart is telling me to just get the upgrades done. Head is telling me to spend money on this, on the quality control, so we have a less chance of bits failing. Yeah, I think what we'll do, we'll wait for a sponsor bonus to then get that. So we'll get these both upgraded. They'll be in next week at Austria, and that should, as you see there on the right hand side, jump us up just a little bit. Not much of a difference, but it's going to take a while until we start chipping away at the guys just ahead of us. If we come out of here and look at the progress history, in fact it won't show us, will it? If we go down to here, no, there, you can see that when these both come in, we creep up a little bit. We'll probably pretty much bang halfway between Renault and Force India, which is not a bad stage to be as we come into the second half of the season soon. So, yeah, pretty disappointing overall with the race. You know, we leading the race, and then I get a penalty for speeding behind the virtual safety car. And then I get a penalty as well for driving through the pits, and then we've had to make another pit stop because I've lost my wing, and we've still recovered to 9th place. So really we should have had Verstappen for 2nd. Perez was too far ahead, so unfortunately this was another race where we should have been on the podium, and we haven't, and it's races like this that may cost us the championship by the end of the season. So yeah, hopefully we can bounce back in Austria and get back onto the top 3 on the podium after the race is done. So thank you very much for watching this episode, and I'll see you all for the next one very soon.